2011, beds were added, and some were dissatisfied that skipping the night would lead to the game being easier. 2016, and the combat got a rework, but many were displeased with how it turned out slow paced. 2018, and there was the aquatic update, which alongside making the oceans better, added the most hated monster in Minecraft, the Phantom. 2019, the village and pillage update, where many became aware that villagers could trade you basically anything, taking the mine out of Minecraft. Minecraft has always had its problems, some of which were legitimate issues and others that were just the community fighting against change. But among many problems, there is an ever-growing one that still hasn't been addressed at all, and many are speculating that it may be what the 1.21 update is about, the end. Since the release of the combat update, which also added the Elytras into the game, players have become awfully aware of the inherent dullness of this dimension. Before, this wasn't a problem, since the exploration of the dimension wasn't encouraged, if even possible, but nowadays you have to wander around to find an end city, a task of which proves itself to be extremely time consuming and boring. Which is why I'm here today. I want to make a simple mod that will fix most of this in a very simple way. So welcome, I'm Ghosty, and let's take a look at what the end has compared to the other dimensions. Interesting world generation. I guess the floating islands are cool, but not really engaging, unless you like building bridges over a death pit, but I know other places where you could do that. A variety of biomes. Well, we have the end, small end islands and midlands and highlands and the end barrens, but I guess it doesn't count when they're so similar. Alright, a great array of enemies, I guess not. What about structures? Well, just this one. That's a lot of things for a single person to fix, and there are even other mods that already do that, but those basically rework the end entirely, just like the 1.16 update did to the Nether. The fix I want is one that Mojang could easily implement if they were to not rework the end at all for a while, just to suffocate the fire that slowly grows in the community a bit. In essence, a band-aid fix. If we take a closer look, the real problem with the end is that we have to endlessly explore this whole bunch of nothing to find an end city, right? So what if we could aimfully explore? Is that a word? Aimfully. So I had the first part of the idea. Do you know how the Ender Eye guides the player to the closest Ender portal by flying towards it once tossed? What if we had one of those, but that would fly towards the end cities? So this is what I did. I opened paint.net, did some adjustments to the Ender Eye textures, booted IntelliJ, and that was game on. I then learned how to make complex items, don't worry about what is happening here. Before I noticed it, I was pointing towards the closest end city, just like I wanted. And how do we get the item? Well, that's where the fun begins. The biggest threat in the end after the Ender Dragon are the Endermen. Basically, the only threat there is looking above waist level. But these are basically ignorable while exploring, other than maybe helping you skip a few big jumps, and for that you probably just get a few pearls by making a low ceiling and beating the Enderman while they're unable to do anything against you. You see, I've always felt like the Endermen are too defenseless in the end, and may even need some kind of guardian, which is why I added a new monster, the Ender Watcher. Only when you kill those, you'll be able to get the Void Eye, the item we've just created. Thing is, you won't see them spawning randomly. Those guys watch over his people, and as you attack them, there's a chance that an Ender Watcher will notice something's wrong and come to check what it is. While one of them is around, if you attack any Enderman, they'll start hunting you down. So let's make them. I created a new model in Blockbench, made this weird guy that has some gamer posture, and put him in the game. I then took a few parts of the Enderman's code and placed it into him. Okay. Okay, listen now. So now he gets angered when I look at his eyes, he dodges arrows and teleports. A little too much. So I tried fixing his teleport frequency, failed a few times, got bored, tried a few cool tricks, and then fixed him right after. Good, now I need to make him different from Enderman in some way. Instead of picking up blocks every now and then, this guy will pick up blocks that are in the way of him whenever he's trying to get his target. Then he'll place them somewhere else to pick the next one. This caused a whole lot of other issues, and it took me 2 whole days just to figure out how to make them pick and place blocks. I could show you the clips, but I will spare you the pain. But now that it was kind of working, I had a lot of fun trying to evade an angry Ender Watcher following me above the city, which is honestly kind of terrifying. I didn't fix the few issues with his teleporting, made his blocking direction happen even more frequently, made the eye drop from him, made him able to pick most blocks, and added 2 new skills. Now, whenever he attacks you, there is a chance that he'll pick you up and teleport you with him, placing you somewhere else. This chance gets higher the lower his health is, and although it may seem like not that big of a deal, it is one of the most disorienting things that will probably ever happen to you in game, especially if you're playing with a friend and suddenly you're in a 1v1 against this monster. This also pairs with the skill that, once you teleport alongside him, a nearby enderman will get angry at you, as if he wants to help his guardian. Again, this wouldn't be a big deal if the watcher didn't take you somewhere else, probably out of cover, where you are now alone against more than one enemy. Of course, this is not the greatest solution for the problem in hand, but I thought that it would fill the gap well enough for it to be some kind of temporary solution that could be implemented. But what do you think? If you think it is good, leave a like down there and please consider subscribing, as only about 8% of you are subscribed. I have some big plans to make bigger and better projects going forward, so you won't want to miss that. Well, that was it for me. Thank you for watching up until here, and I'll see you on the next one.